Medicaid.
The gentleman from Fairfax, Mr. Plum.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Speaking to the amendment.
The gentleman has the floor.
Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, there seems to be a certain pattern in our voting today, but I hope that pattern won't continue, that you'll stop and think for a moment what's before us once again. And this is a historic opportunity, and I am so pleased that the governor would offer this up for us as Virginians to do, and I apologize if this term is offensive to you, but what is morally right. I don't propose that we be fiscally irresponsible, but I would ask you the question about why is it that Medicaid costs continue to increase? Any surprise to realize that our population is getting older? Any surprise for you to realize that health care costs in general are going up? But why would it be the case that these costs would go up if there wasn't a need? The suggested numbers in Virginia of people without health care is like 400,000 people. 400,000 people that we're going to leave to free clinics to operate? I don't know about the free clinic in your neighborhood, but the free clinic in my neighborhood works hard just to survive. And the free clinics that I know of ask us to do what is responsible. What's responsible, I think, is do what 30-some states figured out how to do. Now, we first weren't doing it under the previous administration for all the reasons that we enumerated at that point. And now we've got a new administration, and under that administration so far there's been no willingness to repeal and throw out what was termed previously by the president's name. And now we have before us Cecilia's same program. And I would ask you why, or how will you explain to your constituents back home that we would, with such an important indication of the need in our Commonwealth, walk away from $10 billion? And what do we do to describe what we do when we walk away from $10 billion? We call it fiscally responsible. I can't get my head around that, Mr. Speaker. It's been impossible for me to figure out how you leave $10 billion on the table. There will be new costs in the future. There's no question about that. But why would you leave behind 100% reimbursement money? And why would you consider to continue to study this thing until the 100% money's used up, and then we say, oh, we can't take that money now because it's not fully reimbursable? I think, I think that the position that we have taken to this point has left too many Virginians without adequate health care. Now, I have volunteered at the remote area medical program, and we now have several of those in Virginia. And some people might conclude that one day of health care a year is enough, but I don't think that's true. And I think if you talk to the people leaving the RAM sessions at any particular time, they would agree that that's not adequate medical care, that you get one day a year of care. But I would suggest this to you. If you can get 100% reimbursable money now, and you can get people medical care for the next couple of years, even if at the end of that the program is stopped, you will have done the people of Virginia a service. Not only will this catch us up on some medical care that we need, but it'll also put prevention into this thing. And I think, quite frankly, this is the human thing in this that we need to consider. Working with people as to where they are and how they can stay well. We don't have the money to do that now. Free clinics don't do that now. Remote area medical clinics don't do that now. Mr. Speaker, ladies and gentlemen of the House, if I seem passionate about this, I feel passionate about this. I have introduced a bill like this for the last several years since Medicaid expansion became possible. Because I cannot, in all justification, go back to my constituents and say, and I probably have as little a need in my district as any district here, of why I would deny people access to health care when money's already available to us. It's 100% money, and we need to respond to that. In the long haul, we need to deal with the rising cost of health care, regardless of what happens with Medicaid. We're going to be faced with an aging population. That's just a fact of life. But in the meantime, what we can responsibly do for our constituents, and we've had a lot of votes up there today, and I would suggest to you the vote that's going to be most often quoted after this session is going to be this vote. And I would ask you, please, for the people of Virginia, let's do the responsible thing, and let's give the governor authority to move forward on this important program. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.